Good morning, Insurance Syndicate. Welcome to another Monday Mindset. Like I always say, it's hard to believe that another Monday is upon us. We are blessed with another week. I was thinking about what do I want to talk about on today's Monday Mindset. I have a few thoughts for you. I oftentimes when I, speak or teach, it usually has to do with things that are happening in my own business or for clients that I'm helping. Because that's the most real and relevant I can be is going, hey, this is what I'm finding out and figuring out for my own business to grow it. This is what's happening in clients' lives that I'm working with. And today I want to share with you something that I implemented in my interview process that is changing the game for us in selection of great candidates. So I want to give you that, and I can talk a little bit about my hiring because you guys know we hire a ton of people. So I want to walk you through that. Then also give you some thoughts on, this is Monday Mindset, which means we have to have some Monday motivation. So give you some thoughts on some motivation thoughts that I've been having recently when it comes to staying disciplined and getting at it. But before we do that, I'm going to cue this intro. Let's go.
There are no bad businesses. There are just those people who don't know enough to see the opportunities in the work they're in. If there seems to be no future or opportunity in it, it isn't always because it's not there, but perhaps only because we can't see it.
What's up? Good morning. Good morning, Melissa. Good morning. Good morning to those tuning in. Welcome to another Monday Mindset. Today, I want to talk to you about something that I'm implementing or have implemented in my hiring process that is helping me tremendously. But before I get into that, because I want to share you this tip, you guys know I hire a lot of people. I also lose a lot of people. So if you are in sales, the dreaded sales game. I don't want to be a churn and burn, but hey, at the end of the day, there's only so many people that can actually do sales. And, you have to have the effort and put in the work. So we also lose a lot of people, but we've implemented something in our hiring process to help us select better candidates. But one of the things that has been on my mind from a motivation standpoint is someone that is a friend of mine bet me that they would have a better six-pack by May 24th than I would have. And they're older than me and all that good stuff. And we were kind of ragging on each other. And so he bet me $5,000. And I was like, can't help but take that bet because wouldn't mind winning $5,000, although we're going to donate it to charity, whoever wins. But I took this bet. And here's what's interesting, right, is, the truth is I can say I've had a six-pack before in my life. I've never really had a six-pack before, like these guys who do like physique stuff and they're working out all the time. And this first time in my life, I'm counting my macros. But what's interesting, and this will apply to you guys in motivation in life and what you're going after, you set this target, this goal. So for me, this simplistic kind of funny goal of, okay, am I going to beat this guy in terms of having a six-pack by May 24th? And what happens is I have to set the plan to hit that goal. So I have my macros set that I've never counted before. I have my workout schedule and routine that I'm doing. I'm hitting abs way more than I ever have before. So that's a good thing. But what's interesting is how much life throws at you when you are trying to achieve a goal and how those things just appear. And what's interesting is like every time I do something like 75 hard or this challenge that I'm doing here or something in my business, things happen in life, i.e. things like Valentine's Day. What am I going to do for Valentine's Day? I'm taking my wife out to a nice restaurant. Do I actually eat the meal there at the restaurant? Do I actually drink a glass of wine with my wife Valentine's Day? And then it's like, this is what your brain does to you. Okay, it's just one day. It's Valentine's Day. Go ahead and, partake in that meal. But then before you know it, there's something else. Like there's always something. Like it was the Super Bowl. It was like, well, it's the Super Bowl, Luke. You don't want to miss out on eating chicken wings at the Super Bowl. Then it's Valentine's Day. Then my wife's birthday is in there as well. And so what I'm trying to make the point of is like when you set a target and a goal, you got to know that anything great is going to take sacrifice. And it's really not what you're willing to do. It's what you're willing to give up. That's the truth. It's like, what are you willing to give up in your life? Are you willing to give up a little extra sleep so you can get to the gym in the morning? Are you willing to give up a little bit more time sitting on the couch and watching TV or scrolling through your phone so you can actually do something on your business or do something for your life that will improve your life? It's like, yes, you need to do a lot of things, but it's more, what are you willing to sacrifice and give up? And I just think it's funny every time I set out on a mission or some goal, all of a sudden, all these things come into my purview of realizing, wow, it really is always going to be something. And it's in that moment of choosing whether or not I partake in the chicken wings at the Super Bowl or not is the difference maker. And it's never one huge, massive move in your life that ends up winning. It's all these small little 1% tweaks that over time, and this is a biblical principle, he who's faithful in the small things will be given much. Over time, if you're faithful in just these little small things, 1% here, 1% there, 1% here, you have massive change in your business. You want to grow your business by 10%, search for 10 1% changes that you can make in your business. Like that is how it works. Oftentimes we search for the big move. We search for the magic. And it's like, nah, the magic is just swinging the hammer. The magic is just laying the cinder block. It's just tweaking and improving that laying of the cinder block just slightly so you can be a little bit better than the other person. So with that being said, good segue. I didn't even plan this. Ryan, what's up, brother? Thanks for tuning in. I didn't even plan this, but good segue here on, so hiring. We are hiring tons of salespeople. We've always hired tons of salespeople. I would love to get my retention to 50%, where, one out of every two people we hire actually makes it for a year. My goal this year is to hit 40%, just to give you guys an idea of retention. So anybody who's hiring a ton of people, maybe that will encourage you. Maybe that will make you feel better because you have better retention than I do. But we are hiring cold callers, right? 300 dials on the phone. We're hiring, 4 hours of phone time a day, 3 deals if you can get it, that type of idea. It pays really well, but it's really hard work. So we're doing a ton of interviewing and hiring for that. Then we have, in my company, I have software engineers, I have data analysts, I have customer service, operations, HR, accounting. So we're hiring across the organization in all these type of facets. And my interview process normally was, we put out there online, whether it's Indeed or ZipRecruiter or Glassdoor or any of these sites out there, we're advertising. We've even tried Facebook. That didn't really work for us. I don't know if recruiting's worked for you guys on Facebook. That didn't really work for us, the level of people it was attracting through the funnel. But we're recruiting people in. We get about 20,000 applications a month, just to give you an idea. So we're massively advertising out there to bring applications into our funnel. From there, we screen people with basically, it's like twofold of a test. One is a test that, is testing their aptitude from a salesmanship perspective, because I'll just talk about sales because I know you guys recruit salespeople. And the other is a personality test. So we screen people kind of through that lens to try to narrow down the amount of resumes we have. Then based upon the people who fit into the bucket of high achievers that we believe will make it in this job, we then have a recruiter reach out and do a little phone screen. From the phone screen, what we used to do is we go to the hiring manager, and the hiring manager would then interview that person and decide on that interview whether or not they wanted them to take a job. Sometimes if they didn't feel totally confident, they would, bring in another person, VP of sales or somebody else to help them, maybe another interview. But most of the time it's like 2 interviews and done, because we're trying to get classes of 12 every 2 weeks or 15 every 2 weeks. Well, here is the game changer that we implemented. So I always was trying to test for 4 things when I hire salespeople. So one is energy, right? I need to have someone who has energy. And what I mean by energy is, yes, maybe they have energy and they're rocking back and forth in their seat and stuff like that, but it's like a positive energy. They come onto the Zoom call that we interview them on, and there's just this uplifting energy about them, the way they speak, their inflection, their tone, their engagement in the conversation, their active listening is high, because we just find in our position that does well. Second thing I look for is communication skills. So yes, you have good energy, you have good active listening, you're putting across that you have the energy to do this job, but can you actually communicate? And this is really the key, because when you're on the phone all day long, you're doing sales, you want a great communicator, someone who's quick-witted, can think on their feet, can talk to people really well. And we would always test people on this by asking them, hey, what did you pitch at your last position? Meaning, like, maybe you work for a home security company. It's like, hey, what was the biggest objection you got there at the home security company? And then when they would tell us, we go, okay, I'm going to role play that. So I'll give you that objection. Tell me how you overcome that. Because the thought process there is, if they've done it, then they have experience in it. I'm not trying to get them to do something they haven't done before. And they can then tell us or share with us kind of their skill set of overcoming that objection. So we get to see some technical skill set, we get to see some communication skill set, and we would role play a bunch, and we would learn about their communication skills through how they shared the experience of their journey. One note that I always look for is, someone bores me in talking about their experience, they're probably not going to be the best salesperson. They're going to come across as dry. Maybe for engineering sales or tech sales, they would do okay, but not for our sales. We need emotion and energy. So if you bore me in sharing your story, you're probably not going to be the best at sharing the value proposition of what we're doing here. So I would test communication. The third thing I would look for is motivation and hunger. This is probably the most important, but the hardest to test for, because people can BS you and lie to you all the time. And I've been doing this for years. I've done hundreds and hundreds of interviews, if not thousands of interviews. And I still have a hard time vetting out true motivation versus just fake motivation that somebody's giving you on an interview. And then fourth, I look for character. I used to sacrifice on the fourth, not even knowing it. It wasn't a conscious sacrificing. It's just I didn't pay as much weight to character when I hired people. Now I pay a ton of weight to character. One of the things I like to hear about from people is like how they give back, those type of things, who they read and listen to, because it just gives me an idea of who the person is. But I look for those four things. So we were hiring people and we're looking and grading on these four things. But it's an interview. So some people out there are professional interviewers, man. Like, they are insanely good in interviewing, and it's just, they would fool you. So they would get you to go, man, has great energy, can communicate, seems hungry and motivated, saying the right things, and seems like a good person character-wise. And they would get into the company, and then you'd be like, wow, you're not dialing the phone. Wow, I'm having to call you all the time. Wow, you're cutting corners on your pitch. What the heck happened? So I added this one step to our interview process, and we call it the technical interview. And this is helping us a ton. It's making it longer to get people in the door, which is difficult, but it's helping a ton. And the technical interview is, we phone screen you, then you go to the second interview with the manager. If the manager likes you, then what we do is we send you basically a kit that teaches you how to do an appointment setting call for our company. So super simple call. We have a script for you. We expect you to memorize that script. And then we set it up for an hour 15, but it's really only 45 minutes. We do a 45-minute interview where the person actually gets on the phone and calls our leads to set an appointment and gauge interest. Now, the job they're going to be hired for is to close on the phone. So in the real job, they have to call the person, gauge interest, get them interested in the value prop, and actually close them on the phone. But for the sake of the technical interview, obviously teaching someone how to close somebody is a lot longer of a process. So we needed something short and sweet. So we wanted to judge the technical capabilities and aptitude of the prospect, because we kept getting fooled. They would role play way better than when they got on the phone. So now we're putting people literally on the phone for 45 minutes to test their technical aptitude. We're not looking for perfection. We know they don't really know our products and services well, but we're looking for their ability to, one, dial, 2, have conversations on the phone. 3, be able to take constructive feedback right there in the interview and apply that feedback. Are they coachable? And it has been a game changer. There are people that have passed all the way to the technical interview, which should be people that we would have traditionally hired, that as soon as they got on the phone and they started making the phone calls for 45 minutes, they either self-selected out and goes, yeah, this is not for me, which thank God, because that saves us time. We're no longer putting them through a week of training and all that pay and then getting them on the phone for them to just find out the same thing. So we are getting them on the phone technically, and then we get to see, wow, the tone of voice. Can they think quick-witted on their feet? Can they apply feedback? It has been a game changer. Now, here's 2 points I will make with that. One is, why didn't I do that before? Because I had a limiting belief that to ask somebody to get on the phone and show their technical skills to leads when I haven't taught them the pitch, I haven't taught them the products, is too much, Luke. You can't do that to somebody. Just role play it. So I had a limiting belief that was limiting my results. Instead, I go, no, if I'm going to hire a carpenter, I want to see what the carpenter has done. I want to see their work. And so I wanted to go a step further and go, yeah, show me your work. Show me that you can do this, because I'm not expecting you to do great results from, a couple of 45-minute phone calls when you don't really know our products and services well. But I definitely am expecting you to not be afraid of dialing the phone. I'm definitely expecting you to be able to actually have a conversation. I'm definitely expecting you to be able to actually regurgitate the script I sent you. It shows you're invested in the process. And it's been pretty amazing. So apply that not just to sales. Apply that to a graphic designer. Okay, we interview the person, we bring them in based upon their portfolio, but now we have a technical interview where it's like, hey, we want you to design this type of logo. This is the request from the client. You have an hour to do it. Go design the logo. And our people will watch them design the landing page or the logo so they can see the skill set of that person to make sure it's a great fit. I am telling you, it's been a game changer. It seems maybe obvious, maybe it's obvious to you guys, but it was a breakthrough for us recently of going, no, we're going to force people to get on technical interviews. And what that will do is it will weed down people, because people won't want to go through that. But the people who do go through that, guess what they are? They're confident in what they can do. They have technical skills and aptitude. And, there's 400 million people in America. I'm not looking for 100 million people to work for me. I'm looking for 400 people? You're telling me I can't find 400 insanely skilled people out of everybody in the United States of America that is willing to go through the interview process and do a technical interview? And what's interesting is if you study the best companies, because I'm privileged to be a part of a business group where one of the guys in my group, he was interviewing for Amazon at a high level. So a really high level, executive level position in Amazon. And they put him through 17 interviews. He didn't get the job, but they put him through 17 interviews. And I question myself, oh man, will people go through 2 interviews? Will people go through 3 interviews? And they put him through 17. So maybe you're not hiring people like me, and this isn't as relevant to you in a tactics standpoint, but I think there's some key lessons from a motivation, mindset, discipline, and business standpoint that you can take away. One is, what limiting belief do you have that you're saying, oh, it's too hard to ask somebody to do that? It ain't too hard. Ask them to do it. What is it that David Goggins says? When you're done, you're really only 40% done when it comes to actually your work and your ability to succeed. So it's the same in what we push. And if you think of the greatest movers and shakers in this world, people like Elon Musk, they ask people to do the impossible every single day. They ask people to do the impossible every single day. And here's what I've learned about high performers, because I know this about myself. I want to be around that. I want to be around someone who pushes me to do the impossible every single day. I might not like it every single day, just like I don't like lifting the weights or eating the broccoli, but I'm so glad I did because I feel alive. I'm not at a company that's just dead inside. I'm at a company that's actually trying to do something, right? So I think that's a huge takeaway that you can have. And then number 2 is, look, you don't need everybody to join you. You just need the right people to join you. You don't need everybody. You just need the right people. And that applies to the clients you're trying to go after. That applies to the people that you're trying to partner up with and work with. And once you realize that, hey, man, there's 7 billion or more people in this world. You're telling me I can't find 400 people that are on the same mission, that have the same drive as me, that have even bigger aspirations than I do? I think I can. And my limiting belief would teach me, to lower my standards to those around me. But I know, hey, man, you don't get what you expect out of life. You get what you accept. So I hope that encourages you today. If you're interviewing and you're hiring a lot of people, maybe you got some tactics out of that, but get out there and win for your family, for your friends, for yourself. Let's make it happen. It's another week. We're blessed to be alive. We're blessed to have this week. Go make it happen and make it count. Appreciate you guys. Have a great one.